My saying is the only way out is through.
How do I be somebody's wife? What does this even look like?
You need to know walking in the room who you are.
I wanted to know, who is God? How is this helping, building, or pulling me down?
When I talk.
You have joined us for Her Side, the podcast where empowered women come together to explore important topics from a female perspective, with the ultimate goal to be able to strengthen the family unit. I am your host, Melissa, and this is my absolutely beautiful, intelligent, super sexy, physically fit, self-sufficient, and spiritually connected celebrity chef and co-host Paulette Maxwell. But guys, despite these incredible qualities, she still happens, for whatever reason, to be on the journey to find lasting love, right? So normally when we discuss lasting love, the first thought that would come to our mind would be to go and ask someone who's had longevity in a relationship, who's been married, let's say for like 50 years or something, and to ask them their secrets, right? Mm-hmm. But today, we're diving into this unique topic from a very unique perspective. And Paulette, the question that I have for you is, you embody all of these amazing qualities, right? Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, you're still looking for lasting love. Why in the heck do you think that is? Like, with all those qualities, why do you think that's still what you're doing?
Well, honestly, I would have to say, like you just said, that I have all of these amazing qualities, and, you know, but you just have to think about where society is right now. What do they deem as quality?
That's true.
And I feel like, you know, for the time that we're in, that definition has kind of been redefined, you know? I just really, really, really feel like what people are finding or deeming as quality, it's a facade. With social media, pushing so many things, it's like this whole facade of loyalty, happiness, beauty, to the point where I feel like true value has gotten lost. And when you think about value, anything that's valuable, right, you have to be willing to pay a high price for. And I don't know if people are at that place where they really want to pay a high price for something
like to valuable. Be around you, or to even, because you're valuable. So this is such a freaking good conversation and topic, because I think we as women, a lot of times we do not actually know our value. Like, we are valuable. We are, right? Because we are, not because anyone tells us we are, or because we're measuring ourselves to the standards that society places. And when I say society now, I'm just freaking talking about Instagram, because I feel
I mean, that is society. Like, social media is society.
And what they deem to be that standard.
Absolutely. I mean, you're looking at these things of what's social media is defining beauty and happiness. But none of that stuff is really beauty, right? You got all of these filters, and it's really not happiness, because it's like taking a snapshot of, okay, let's pose and let's smile, let's, like, you know, and afterwards it's like, you know, they're arguing or whatever the case may be, but it's like, it's not true value.
It's not. It's not. And you've come from a place like in the entertainment industry too, where you've been for years. So a lot of your people, your friends, like a lot of those people are in entertainment that a lot of the world holds as the standard for whatever that might look like for beauty. This is why I love you so much, because you have that what's the word I'm looking for? Like that balance between the two, right? Where you do have all those qualities. I was like saying it's silly, but you really do have all those qualities. And with those qualities also comes depth. And I think that from my perspective, I've known you for a while now, over a decade. And during that time, I've seen a lot of people almost be, I want to say, almost intimidated by the depth that you have. Like, we just talked about this one specific situation where at first it becomes so attractive, right? For someone when they look at you.
Yeah, they're drawn to it.
Right? They're drawn to it. So they're like, oh my gosh.
Oh, it requires something of me.
Like they have to maintain it. So the first part would be like, wow, this person she's so deep. Like, I love this about you. You stimulate my mind. Like, it's not just any of these boring fake people like Instagram, you know, like those types of.
It's refreshing at first.
It's refreshing. And then when they realize, like, wait a second, now she's making me go deeper. So I have to look at myself.
Yes.
And that's where I've seen a lot of people fall off.
Yes.
And people even say this, I'm quoting, why you gotta be so deep? Why does everything have to be like so deep? So deep about you. What's your response to that?
And
Like, you're not.
It's not even that I'm trying to be deep. Is that, you know, I've done a lot of growth throughout the years. I've done a lot of it, and with that have come a lot of sacrifices, a lot of pain, a lot of tears, a lot of self-seeking, you know, and because of that, I'm going to reflect that. Like, so I'm going to be a mirror for anybody that's in my life, let alone an intimate relationship with my partner. You know, it's going to be a mirror. So you're going to see the real you, and it's going to require you to see the real you, not the facade you, not the, you know, you're going to have to really just take a look and dive into who am I, you know? So
are you
a lot of people, I feel like they don't want to do that. They're not ready.
No,
They're not ready.
Not at all. That, like you said, that requires something of them. But even more so than it requiring, they have to look at themselves in a way that. Yeah. How many people have you met? Men have you met where as soon as you get to a place where things they get a little deeper, it's uncomfortable for them. They immediately retreat. They no longer will communicate. Not as a whole. They'll ghost you or whatever that looks like because it's. Have you experienced that?
I don't want to say that I've experienced like a total ghost.
Not a total ghost, just partial.
One particular situation where I don't want to say they kind of retreated, but everything that, all of these ideas that they had, oh my gosh, you know, God made you for me. And I said, okay, there's many layers to me, buddy. There's many layers. I know that there are so many benefits to me. Like, I know what I'm worth. I know what I've been through to attain the qualities, right, that I have. So I know what I have to offer. It's not saying that, you know, I'm better than any other woman or anything like that. It's just, I happen to know who I am, what I'm worth, and what I have to offer. And with that, I'm not moved by words or by feelings. And it's very easy to get caught up when a guy is like, oh my gosh, I know you were made for me. And that's wonderful. That's nice. That's sweet. However, you know, there are many layers to me. There is so many benefits, you know, there's so many things that you can benefit from me, but at the same time, what are you willing to give up? What is how important is the cost to you? Like, what are you willing to sacrifice? And they really don't know. They feel like, oh yeah, whatever.
What do you want them to sacrifice?
Self.
What does that look like?
They need to put in the work, meaning that I'm not expecting for anyone to be perfect, right? None of us are. However, you have to be able to be willing to try to meet me where I am. You have to be able to hear my heart. You have to be able to be willing to have uncomfortable conversations. You have to be willing to be able to deal with confrontation, because with that comes growth. And a lot of people and a lot of guys, they don't want to deal with confrontation. It's very easy just to retreat or process, but never deal with the actual issue.
That's true, yeah.
So if someone's willing to work with me through it, then it's like, okay, we can work through it together. Not, you just have to magically appear and be this Mr. Everything that I need you to be. It's like, no, let's work through it, but be willing to put in the work. How? Because it's going to cost you something. It's going to cost you time. It's going to cost you, your pride. It's going to cost quite a bit, but am I worth it?
That's good. Are you? Yeah, because you know you're worth it.
Yeah.
But do you, to the man, do you know I'm worth it?
Am I worth it?
I want to know you know that I'm worth it and what that looks like. Knowing your worth is so incredibly important. Yeah. And there's another aspect to that too, is just when you know your worth, like a lot of women are very independent, especially now. And for whatever the reason is, because sometimes the men leave, like whatever. For whatever the reason is, we are very independent, and you are a very independent woman.
So are you.
Do you think that, and I know there's a lot of people like that, so do you think that maybe that has something to do with it, where it's like intimidating the men from really being able to stay and to work through things, and like they can't, you know, do you think that that's a part of it, at least in your experience?
I think, well, you know me, girl. You know that I don't date a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really date at all, really. Because just, with growth and at my age, I can pretty much see, is this someone who can potentially match my energy or not, for me to even explore that. Because like you said, being independent, I don't need a guy to pay for my dinners. I don't need, that's a free meal. So no, I'm okay. My time is much more valuable to me. I'd rather, use that time with my family, my friends. But I think just in general, it can be. It absolutely can be. However, the way that I see it, if my independence and my strength causes you to feel intimidated, keep it moving.
Like, I don't like
keep it moving.
You do belong over here anyway.
Keep it moving.
Yeah, that's real, yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you, I feel like if you feel like you're intimidated by that or that's an issue, I feel like you're going to be in competition with me.
That's good. Yeah.
And that's not what I want. I want a man that finds my strength and my independence attractive, because then he's going to see not only am I able to be a support in his life, he's able to be a support in mine. And as independent and as strong as I may be, I don't mind submitting, So I feel like when you have two people that are willing to submit to Christ and that is submitted and have a heart that is submitted to him, with that, you guys are both on the same page. There won't ever be an issue of competition or someone being too strong or where I won't be able to listen to my man or anything like that, or I'm trying to dominate him. No, as strong as I am, because I first am submitted to Christ.
That's good.
There's an order. I will know how to submit to my husband, and he will know how to submit to me.
And not take advantage of that.
Without it being dominant.
Yeah, that's good.
So it's just having that balance. That's why it's so important what the qualities that you're looking for.
That's really good. Yeah. I was thinking, so we were talking to somebody the other day, and the guy said, it's really messed up that I'm trying, he works with kids, and he's like, it's really messed up that the girls that I talk to, the younger girls that I talk to, they'll say, this is, I need a Gucci purse. Like, he can't be with me unless he's going to give me a Gucci purse. He can't be with me unless I'm going to have a Louis Vuitton. He was like, where did that come from? Like, you can't even cook. Did your mama teach you to cook? Like, you want your Gucci? Like, what are you bringing? Instead of just telling me that this, and I just kind of stepped back. Like, I didn't teach my daughter that she needs to get a Gucci purse from a man or marry a man with money. What I am teaching is make your own money. Yeah. And then marry a man who you don't need, but you really want. And, by need, I don't mean like God created you for whoever that is and you'll need each other. It's more of a codependence than,
right, absolutely.
Or an interdependence, than a codependence, right? But I don't know that we're learning that in today's current society. And so a lot of times I feel like maybe that's a part of why lasting love doesn't come so easy for people, because your expectations is, I don't know, whatever you saw the celebrity do for their wife, right? Whatever stuff. It's
just like social media, the snapshots.
That's what that is.
You think these snapshots are their life, and it's not. At all. It's not. So I'm like, wow, are women like us considered old-fashioned women now? Is that what's happening?
It's so weird to say. I'm not old at all.
Our qualities, like loyalty, can cook and things like that. Like, is that considered old-fashioned?
Or like, did society
that's a real question.
It is. I'm not going to accept that. No, I'm not accepting that. We are not old-fashioned at all. I want to say that's what truth is, and we've gotten so far away from truth. So, I mean, I guess old-fashioned just sounds old to me.
It doesn't have to be a bad thing, but
like, you know. But the idea of the fact that those are virtues that should continuously be taught, right? And we were even talking about that. We were like, there was a time when we were taught economics in school. I don't know if you were, but some people were taught like how to sew. And now it's like, I don't know how to sew a button for my husband if his pants fall. You know what I'm saying? It's really important to be able to bring some of these things back so that and I'm not talking about like the subservient, I'm just going to, submit to everything my husband does and serve him, and he doesn't have to give me anything back. But to really teach what that interdependence looks like. Because I'm going to tell you, like, When you were just talking about this whole, like the whole thing about, I don't need a man to, you know, buy my food for me or my dinner.
Right.
A lot of times, because that is kind of the only thing that women require, it's the only thing that men give.
Exactly.
And then they're not required.
But who's teaching different?
I don't know that
who's
answer.
Who's showing them different? What's showing them different?
We are.
So it's like you have, that's what I'm saying. You have the social media, but that's what's being showed. That's the snapshot. Oh, look with the purse that I got, and look at the gift that I received, or look at the vacation that I'm on. Look at me. It's all self-absorbed. It's not looking at how am I serving. And that's what it's about. That's what relationship, a healthy, balanced relationship is about. How are you able to serve your mate?
I don't know about you, but when I see on Instagram, like even the celebrities that, especially the celebrities, or the women that are married to the celebrities, when I see this on Instagram and they'll be like, he bought me a Chanel purse. Look what I got, the Louis Vuitton, whatever, all these name brand things. My immediate thought, I'm like, oh, your marriage is struggling. You feel alone. You feel abandoned. You feel left out. And you want everyone else to know that he loves you because this is how he's giving you or speaking. So immediately, and it's probably not true. I'm sure there are people out there that
doesn't have to be the case for everyone,
for
but
sure.
we're just
it's just
speaking
what I assume. Yeah. And it's probably a little judgmental, but my heart goes out to them. And I'll be like, oh, wow, like this is where I want to just try to have more opportunities and resources to provide to families where the men can learn to give more of themselves than just money. Money is freaking easy. Like, let me just give you, I can make it. If I can make it, I'm going to give it to you and it's going to shut you up. Like, I know there were some people that were in my life too that were friends of mine. And I kept seeing that there are certain things that their men or their husbands would just give them a bunch of things and money and things like that and allowed them to kind of run off. But because I knew the men personally, I also knew what they were doing when they were running off. So in my mind, I'm like, you don't realize that was just a distraction? Like, that was it. You see what I'm saying? So we cannot, like the guy who was saying to us, what are we teaching our girls? Why are the girls saying that? We cannot teach our little babies, our girls, that they should just marry a man who has money. Because what we're teaching is marry a man who's not going to put the time or energy or an effort into you, except at the beginning in order to get you. Marry a man who is not going to learn to communicate with you, who's not going to give you the attention that you deserve, or learn to speak your love language, or whatever that looks like.
What if they never know who they or discover who they are? What if they never discover their value?
The men or the women?
The women.
Yeah.
So it will all just be chalked up to, oh, this is what I'm worth, you know, and that's all that they will require. So, you know.
That's kind of scary, actually.
It is very scary. And some people, sad to say, find a level of contentment in that. And the settling, they are safe with that. That is good enough. You know, because what do we want as women? We want to feel safe, right? But your level of safety looks different depending on how you see yourself. You know?
Yeah. How did you decide, or not decide, I'm sorry. How did you determine, or was there like a pivotal point in your life where you just realized like, dang, I'm kind of worth a lot? And I'm asking this because when we're talking about lasting love, like love that's going to continue and that's going to last, not just I'm dating this person for a little while, or even I'm married to this person for a little while and that unfortunately ends in a divorce. When we're talking about lasting love, learning how to attain it, to catch it. Like, I feel like it's a process to find, in my opinion. I feel like it's a process to find, but I also feel like knowing and understanding your worth is kind of that first step. And that's the process. That's a whole other process in its own. So that's what I was asking. Like, do you have a pivotal point when you were like, I'm done with this. Like, I know I'm worth more. And you saw that you were worth more. So you elevated your standards.
I mean, I can say that, you know, it starts from childhood. Everything starts from childhood. We all battle insecurities and stuff like that. But I had a very affirming mother. She was very affirming to me. And just to be, you know, transparent, my father was in my life up until a certain time. So, of course, that impacted me. But it impacted me in a way of, I am good enough because my mother said I'm good enough and I'm going to dominate the men.
Wow. That's a different view. Wow.
So I went through that whole phase, and I believe it clicked for me as I began to discover who I was, who my identity was in Christ.
Yeah.
That's when it all began to make sense. It was no longer about, because for me, that was my way of feeling safe. Of if I had control in the relationship, I know that I won't have to deal with the abandonment or, that I dealt with my father. So, but when I found my new daddy in Christ, I'm safe. I'm in a safe zone no matter what. So then at that point, I'm not even looking for, I'm discovering who I am, and I'm not even looking for these things in a man to fulfill me, because I'm already filling my cup with Christ.
That's good.
And that was my journey. And of course, I ended up in these relationships. I would always end up in these long-term relationships. But I continued to grow. And the reason why I did not stay in these relationships, like they would be like 4 or 5 years, I'm young. What am I doing in these kind of relationships? And I was loyal to them for that season of my life. But because I was changing, growing, discovering who I am in myself,
Yeah, that's crazy. Do you think that your standards are too high?
I would think not, no. Okay. Mm-mm. I don't think they're too high.
Do you think that's even possible to have standards that are too high? Like, is that even? No. I agree. I was thinking about that the other day too. I feel like too high standards are only for people that are not meeting those standards themselves, in my opinion. Like, if you have a certain level of, this is the type of man that I want, are you working to be that type of woman?
Yeah.
There was if you want, if I say, I want a man who's an entrepreneur, who understands business, well, I can't just be a person who is stuck with a 9-to-5 job and doesn't understand entrepreneurship and won't support my husband when he doesn't have a weekly check coming in and freak out because their weekly check's not coming in. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. I have to be able to put myself in positions to understand entrepreneurship. Maybe I'm going to take an entrepreneurship class. Maybe I'm going to learn that myself. Even if I don't become an entrepreneur, I need to understand it. And then here's my last question for you, Paulette. How are you going to find this person if you don't go outside your house? Like, because you won't be liking to go out. So how are you going to find that person? So if it was, let's say, for that person who wants to find an entrepreneur, maybe you go to an entrepreneurship class and you find, if you want to find someone who really loves God and wants to be in ministry, maybe you start attending certain churches or join that. So for you, though, you don't think, like, you're kind of on the same page where you don't think there actually is too high of a standard. Like, your standards are not too high.
Absolutely not. Honestly, I feel like that's where a lot of relationships kind of go wrong. Standards should be at the forefront. You should have high standards based on what your standards are, right? Because someone else's standards may not be mine and vice versa. But I feel like we get into these relationships and we connect with people off of feelings. And feelings change. Yes. And then later in the relationship, you want to present these standards.
Yeah, and like, you didn't even.
It's like, wait a minute, but you don't do this for me. You don't do that for me. I don't feel. Well, I never did that. Why are you requiring this of me right now? So, yes, I have high standards, and I'm gonna tell you everything it is that I require, but I'm going to say what I require, I'm more than willing to give,
Yes, I get that. That's the big part. You're willing to reciprocate that.
Yes, I'm willing to give it.
And on top of the fact that I require this, I also am this.
Yes.
So why am I going to lower my standard for a person that is not at my level, right? Why would I lower myself to that? I hold myself to a high standard. I'm absolutely going to hold my partner to a high standard, because then they could potentially pull you down.
Yeah, I would do myself a disservice.
Yeah,
I would
by being
do
with
them
you
a disservice, and it will be a lot of chaos in the relationship. And how am I building you up, and how are you building me up? If I'm frustrated and you're frustrated, and like you feel like you're not good enough for me or something, it's like. It's not, that's why I'm like, I need someone that can match my energy. I'm going to be upfront about what my standards are. Yeah. And let's just have a conversation about it, like adults.
Yeah.
And like I said, it goes back to the uncomfortable conversations. I'm not asking you, to commit to marry me on the first date or anything like that. But it's like, let's talk about, as adults, I know what I want, right? Let's find out if you're on the same level as to what I'm looking for. Are you looking for a relationship that's leading into marriage? Do you want kids? what are your interests and your hobbies? Because that can determine a lot for me.
Are you submitted to God? Because that's the number one.
Are you one that's given it, like, do you like to go to strip clubs? That's not my thing.
Yeah.
The next person, it may not bother them. It bothers me. So we're going to have these conversations that are deal breakers for me up front.
That's good.
These are my standards.
That's good.
And I'm not judging you if, you don't meet them. It's just like, let's say our goodbyes. Thank you for dinner.
Yeah, and you're good about that because you'll still be friends with people, but you still keep them.
There may be
you ain't coming back over here.
Yeah, there may be another purpose, but for you to have that type of access to me, it's going to require,
Yeah, you to match that level and that energy. I love that. So, guys, you heard it, okay? Paulette, single, put your applications. I'll put right here. I'm just joking. I'm messing with you. But you know what you're looking for. Joking. So if you are that person out there, we are looking for you. Guy, I'm so thankful to even have the opportunity to have a platform to be able to speak about these really important topics that a lot of times we don't have a voice, and this is wonderful that we're able to do that and to really get other people's positions and what do you call them, like thoughts on some of these topics. So I just want to encourage you guys, keep strengthening, know your worth, learn your worth, and just continue to grow. And we're going to do this together.
Let's hear from her side.